Hi everyone, as promised, I'm just here to give you a bit more information about the simulated placement weeks before you go on your Christmas holiday. So I'm just going to show you around the Blackboard site where everything's housed and explain the principles to you and how it's going to work and support you to pass your placement. So first things first, on the left-hand tab, you've got all your module and organisational sites. I'm just going to scroll down really quickly and show you where the site is. Look how many modules the course leader is enrolled on. Millions. Right, keep going right down to the bottom. And it's the last one, simulated placement site. Okay, so everybody should be enrolled on this. So click on it, and here is your simulated placement site. Again, down the left-hand tab, there's loads of bits and bobs for you. I'm going to walk through those with you in a moment. But first, we're just going to look at the guidance. Okay. So the guidance just explains how the simulated placement weeks work. Remember, this Blackboard site is for absolutely all cohorts, not just September 20. So sometimes the information might not be entirely relevant for you. So the principles of the simulated placement week demonstrate this. Basically, every student nurse in the UK has to undertake 2,300 hours of clinical practice. Okay, there's no getting away from that. The NMC will not let you register and get your PIN number to practice if you have not done 2,300 hours. It doesn't matter if you had a cold, it doesn't matter if you had a tummy bug, it doesn't matter if you went on holiday. That is what they ask for, and that is what we have to support you to do. At the moment, though, we're in exceptional circumstances. A global pandemic is not something that any of us have ever come across before in our lives. So we're having to adapt really, really quickly to try and support you to get through this course without any breaks in study. And one of the ways we've come up with is this concept of a simulated placement, and it's for various uses. So it's for when a placement can't be sourced and the student is delayed in starting through no fault of their own. It's for when a student is required to self-isolate for up to 14 days. And at the moment, we would only let you do this once, but we will review that if the need arises. It's just that we don't want you to have just endless blocks of simulated placements and not actually get out on clinical placement, because that would be concerning. It's also for when a student's completion date is significantly extended through no fault of their own. And this is where I think that it might not be relevant for you, because third year students will be using simulated placements. If, for example, they've opted out during the paid placements because of health reasons, for example, they were shielding, then that would be relevant to them. The bit that's relevant for you is when a designated simulation placement week is added to a student training plan. So you've been given 3 weeks of simulated placement, okay? It's not for general sickness or any other reason outside of the pandemic interrupting your placement date. And if you need to take any extra simulated placement days on top of those 3 weeks, you need to let us know. So you can let your academic advisor know, who will tell me and Sarah, or you can let your level manager know. So that's Trish. Okay, you have to let us know if you're going to do any extra simulated placement so that we're aware and we can support you. Now, this is the bit that's specially for you, just telling you all about your simulated placement. So for the next 3 weeks, starting on January the 4th, we'd like you to work your way through the packages that we've specially developed for you. Any live session will appear on your timetable, and the rest will be for you to engage with when you've got gaps. So say, for example, on the Monday, you might have one live session and the rest of the day is free. You would then undertake the self-directed work. Many of you will be undertaking a phased return to campus from your Christmas break, in line with government instructions, and some might even need to self-isolate. We've had to ensure that all sessions can be attended from home rather than coming onto campus, and this is to make sure that everyone can engage and that no one's disadvantaged in any way. When you look through the package, you'll see that each session has some hours attached to it so that you can see how many hours it's worth. So every session you undertake, you'll do the activities and you'll complete a reflection. And then you will upload that reflection to your MyPad. And that For one thing, it gets you to practice using your MyPad while we're here to support you. But the other thing it does is it provides evidence so that at the end of your big placement block, these 3 weeks have not been wasted. You'll have evidence for every single proficiency before you even start your clinical placement. So when you get there, you'll be able to say, look at all this evidence I've already achieved. Okay, so each session is mapped to your proficiencies in your MyPad. And there'll be activities as well as things for your proficiencies. There'll also be activities that are attached to all fields. And by all fields, I mean adult, child, mental health, learning disabilities, and mother and child. Again, it's it's an EU directive, but we'll have to find a new name for that. It's a directive that every student has to have experience in all fields of practice. So there are also some resources. So for example, if you're an adult student nurse, you'll have a reflection that demonstrates you've done some work around mother and baby. Or if you're a mental health student nurse, you'll have some evidence that you've done some work around child field nursing. So it's all evidence that you can gather and pop in your MyPad. How to claim your hours. You'll be credited with 3 weeks of placement hours if you engage with these sessions. If you do not engage and you do not submit your reflections, then you will be 3 weeks down on your placement hours and you will need to make these up over the next 3 years of your course. So the way that you will evidence this, you all will have a piece of paper that looks like this online, and it's your placement timesheet, and it's where you write your hours. So every shift that you do, you'll write down, I did 7.5 hours today, I did 12 hours today, and so on. You can see there's a key. So if you're doing a night shift, you'll put the night duty code. If you are doing a makeup shift, you'll put the makeup time code. If you're on a study day, for example, if you've got to come and do some campus learning, then you'll put SD. And there's a special new code on here called SP, which is simulated practice. So for the first 3 weeks of your placement, every day you'll just put SP, 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 and it'll equal 38.5 hours a week. So you'll submit this at the end of your placement. And what will happen is your practice assessor will assess whether you've achieved your proficiencies, and then your academic assessor will sign everything off. And whilst they're signing you off, they'll be checking in your MyPad to make sure you've submitted reflections from your simulated placement weeks. Okay, so everything you do will have some hours attached to it, which actually I think they go above 3 lots of 38.5. So you can pick and mix which activities you do. Okay, so any confusion at all about what you're doing, just come back to this page, the guidance page, okay? And then I'll just work my way down and show you some of the bits. So you are level 4 on the integrated curriculum. So these are your learning materials. Okay, so you'll click on here. And there's a bit more guidance, just in case you forgot the first lot of guidance, explaining what to do. And you can see it says, so we've suggested how long each activity should take, but you might spend more time, you might spend less time. And that's fine. We're not going to check. We just want to see the evidence that you've engaged, which would be a reflection or in some cases a certificate. You will find on your timetable, you will have a few live sessions and you'll also have a few PPD and CICW sessions. So try not to forget about those. So you can see, get ready. So we've got all these sessions. Some are live, some are self-directed, and you can pick and mix basically what takes your fancy. There's quite a few. Okay, and each one of these is an interactive activity. So I'll give you an example. The activities of daily living activity. So this maps to some of your proficiencies. It maps to several of your proficiencies. And there's a mapping document that I'll show you in a minute. You don't need to worry about that though. It's just so you can see. Okay, so you will undertake this activity and it tells you what to do. Okay, so you are going to meet a patient called Jenny. Jenny's 79. She lives alone in a 4-bedroomed house in Eckersfield. Okay, so you watch the video and Jenny introduces herself. Then there's a bit of information about Jenny. And then you are going to complete Jenny's care plan. Okay, so that would be You know, what are her moving and handling needs? What are her eating and drinking requirements? And all the other things around her activities of daily living. So you're doing a care plan. And then a little bit further down, there's a suggestion of what we would have included in Jenny's care plan. And then you'll undertake a reflection around what you've learned. And you can see that's nearly a full day's work, because actually your a reflection is not just, a little scrappy bit of paper. A reflection is 2 pages long, roughly, with references in it. So you'll actually read around Jenny's conditions and her medications, and talk about your discussion about what you've learned, what would you do differently next time, and all that kind of thing. And we've suggested some different reflection templates you might use. So that's the activity with Jenny. Okay. We've tried to make the activities as field specific as possible. That particular one does appear very adult focused, but it's because it's such a good case study to consider all of these in the triangle, all of these daily living issues, where sometimes with a child patient, it can be a little bit more difficult to cover all of them because they might be independent with them. It's absolutely fine though, because again, it will meet your all field requirements, but we have tried to be very field specific in our other activities. I'm just going to point a few more out to you. I'm going to point one in particular. Let's just look for it. The community day. So the community nursing one. So this is a whole day. And I'm just drawing your attention to this one because what we're doing, if you remember, Gail has sent you an email about the dementia play. So you can book a ticket for the dementia play, which is a live exclusive screening of a play where you get a chance to watch the play and then chat with the cast and ask them some questions afterwards. So it's really popular. So I'd book a ticket as soon as you can. And then the other thing is dementia friend training. And there are some live sessions there where you can, in a small group, meet with Gail and Pat and have some live dementia friend training. So I just wanted to point that out to you because these are the Zoom links and you'll have to book on as well. And then the other thing I'm just going to point out to you, I realise there's a lot of information to take in, so please don't panic. This site will be available for you to have a good look round whenever you like. But the other one I'm just going to point out is this one, the Prescribing workbook. So the NMC, the new NMC standards, which your course are built on, say that you, when you qualify, should be prescriber ready, which means that straight away you are good to go and apply for your prescribing course. And in order to do that, we have to demonstrate that we have made you prescriber ready. And the way we're going to do that is that we have a prescriber workbook, which you may have heard us mention before. It's an online package developed by Health Education England. And all you need to do is click on this link here and log in with your SHU login, and then you'll be able to undertake all these packages. Each little tiny package within the parts is only maybe 3-4 minutes long, so it's not a huge amount of work. And you have the whole 3 years to undertake this package, okay? So there's 3 parts to it. In your third year, you will be doing much more on prescribing, and your assessment will be around prescribing. So it's really important that you do engage with this book. So we've given you a whole day to make a start on it, but really you can do as much as you like on the prescriber workbook because it's yours now for the next 3 years, and we want you to work your way through it. Okay. I'll just see if there's anything else I need to tell you about. I'll just work from top to bottom. Okay, so there's guidance. Session 1 is a lovely live session with a third year or a second year student nurse and myself or Sarah McDonald, just talking about how to prepare for placement and anything, what shoes to wear, what are good foods to eat on a night shift, how to prepare in terms of reading before your first placement, and you can ask any questions you like to our third year student nurse. Okay. And then we have a clinical skills scenario activity, which is around vital signs, which I think it's specially recorded for you. And I think Lewis is recording it on campus today. And there's a bit of a quiz, sort of test yourself at the end. We've done a bit of work around well-being and placement preparation. You've got 2 live OMS sessions. You've got another MyPad drop-in with Paula. Some work around human factors with some talking heads and activities. And then session 10 is another live session, which I think is really interesting, around risk assessment and meeting a patient in their home and assessing the risks within the home, and actually having a look around their kitchen and the living room and the bedroom on a sort of 360 camera. Really interesting. There's just a bit of pre-sessional work and post-sessional work. Then an activity around you undertaking an S-bar and picking up the phone and giving someone a ring and handing over. The Care Opinion project, which I'll leave you to look at, which we've developed with the owners of Care Opinion, that's quite fun. The Prescribing workbook, and then your all fields work on mental health and child and learning disabilities. Some stuff around infection control and PPE and donning and doffing. Just some support around gathering evidence for your MyPad. End of life care, mouth care matters refresher. Some stuff around service improvement, co-production and service user involvement, which has got some lovely videos. Mother and baby, tissue viability, and you can sort of learn how to stage or grade a pressure ulcer, so that's quite interesting. Some stuff around nutrition and hydration, activities of daily living, which I just showed you, and finally, and appropriately, sleep. And then just back up to the top to show you. So again, down the left-hand tab, you are level 4 ICC. This is September 19s. These are the students on the other curriculum, and these are the master's students. But then for you, some guidance around reflection and some guidance around MyPad, and then the mapping so that you can see which proficiencies map to which activity. I'll just click on MyPad to show you. Okay, so MyPad support, and there's some guidance, and then in here, how to activate your MyPad, a link to the website which Paula has developed, which is lovely, about MyPad, and a recording of one of your previous sessions and the recording of the drop-in. Okay, so please do have a look at that and try and develop your ability with the MyPad, because it's with you for the next 3 years. Yay! And then also, just to show you on the mapping, just so you know what I'm talking about, each proficiency in your MyPad is mapped to one of the activities you do. So if you wanted to, you could code it when you do your reflection, or really just to make you think, so that you can see and we can demonstrate the fact that you are achieving all your proficiencies by undertaking the simulated placement week. Okay, I really hope that makes sense. I think it will become much more apparent as you sit and look through the site and learn your way around. I think it's quite self-explanatory though, and hopefully this video has helped. If you've got any issues whatsoever during that week, just speak up in one of the live sessions, or drop an email to your academic advisor, who will be able to support you or pass you back on to myself and Trish and Sarah. Okay, so good luck. I hope you have a lovely Christmas, and we'll see you all on the 4th of January. Thank you. Bye.